Welcome into Week 5 grades. We are going to be grading every team's performance from Week 5. Let's start out in the F category. At first, to no surprise, we have the New England Patriots losing to the Miami Dolphins, the Tua-less Miami Dolphins, 15-10. I almost had the score prediction right. I had 15-12, so it's very close. But I will say, as bad as the Patriots played to the point where Jerod Mayo is basically hinting that Drake May be starting soon, which would be a colossal mistake in my opinion, the Patriots better be damn glad they lost this game, because this is one of those wins you look back on later in the season when you realize your whole thing is trash and you might get the number 1 pick, and they're like, wow, if we just would have lost this meaningless game, we would have the number 1 pick. At this point, Patriots fans should want Drake May to learn as much as he can on the sidelines and lose as many games as they can. Secure that number 1 overall pick, take the best player, or trade out for assets. That is what your season is, unfortunately.
Oh, absolutely. And again, all I have to say on this, because you touched on all the bases, is Patriots fans, the litmus test on who knows ball and who doesn't know ball is, at this point, if you want Drake May to start, you probably don't know ball. And if you want Drake May to sit, learn, not fuck up his development, and not lose all his confidence against it's gonna be rough.
Well, also,
just
if you
let
start,
him sit. Let him sit. The season's over. The season's over. Like,
if you start Drake May next week, I believe they are playing the Texans. Wouldn't be a good start. Would not be a good start for Drake May. And it's not about that Drake May wouldn't be able to handle adversity. It's the fact of that O-line might kill Drake May. That is the issue with this offense. And my thing is, we knew this was how the Patriots season was going to go. I don't think we are going to see things unravel as fast as they are with Jerod Mayo and the players on the defense. But with that being said, it's kind of like, why would you want to put a rookie in that situation right now? You don't.
Immediate gratification culture. That's why, Hunter.
Cleveland Browns is our second F. Dude. I mean, I know the Commanders are rolling right now, but your defense was your strong suit, and you let them put up 34, I believe. The issue with Deshaun Watson and Kevin Stefanski, this is not getting fixed. So who's going to go? The quarterback is not the answer, or the coach who has been pretty decent over the last couple years and got shit accomplished with Joe Flacco, who they let walk, didn't even give an offer to, and let go to the Colts, who just threw for, 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions?
I mean, it's so bad in so many ways, and we're not going to touch on all of it right now because we're going to keep it shorter for the grades for the sake of getting to every grade. But Browns fans know, I got my homie who's a Browns fan that would tell you right now that he thinks they're the worst team in the league. And you know what's funny is I might even not debate him on it at this point. They really might be tied for the worst team in the league, because it's much more than just being bad. It's being bad on top of being just incredibly hopeless. It is probably the worst situation in football. It's really bad.
Unfortunately, their line kind of fell apart, their offensive line too. That is all we have for the F. Let's move to D. The Carolina Panthers make a return to the bottom of the grades. Yeah, I mean, they struggled on offense. They turned over the ball against one of the better defenses. They got a touchdown early and then never really scored again. A lot of key injuries. Jadeveon Clowney went down. Their center, Austin Corbett, is out now for the rest of the year. The only player kind of remaining is J.C. Horn. So, I mean, if the Panthers are vying for the number 1 overall pick, you got it's going to be Panthers and Patriots, I feel like, but not a great performance from the Panthers.
Yeah, just atrocious. But again, I mean, I don't think that Panthers fans expect very much at this point. I don't blame them. It's bleak. It's incredibly bleak. There's a lot that needs to be overhauled, and it will continue to be the case until that a lot of things get addressed.
Miami Dolphins are the next team in the D category. You barely beat the Patriots, and you are a much more talented team, kinda. I mean, I don't know. With Tua, they're supposed to be a playoff team, So I don't know. I mean, you lose Jalen Phillips, it's tough, and the line isn't great, but you should. I don't know. Until Tua comes back, this team is really bad.
If I'm a Dolphins fan, again, I'm just going to leave it at this. I'm not as concerned about the team as I am about Mike McDaniel.
Yeah. Las Vegas Raiders, D. A lot going on here. You get stomped out by a division rival. You make a quarterback change, which makes no sense because, in my opinion, you have the young guy who showed a little bit of promise last year. Is he the long-term answer? Is Aiden O'Connell the long-term answer? Probably not. But signing Gardner Minshew, starting him, and then benching him in week 5 is very questionable. A star receiver wants out. Max Crosby basically says to the media that, oh, yeah, just another day being a Raider. Like, all this shit is, like, just normal there, which is very not encouraging. Tom Telesco was fired last year and got another GM job right away. Like, that really doesn't happen very often. The Raiders are just in purgatory, and to get beat by the Broncos like that, whose offense is not very good, kind of embarrassing.
Hunter, I can't remember who the two guys were. It's coming to me. There was two guys that were like really not on board with Tom Telesco signing. Who were these two guys? I can't remember.
I don't know. I think
two guys were really, they saw the writing on the wall coming.
Yeah, that Christian Wilkins contract was just genius. Last team in the D category, we have the New Orleans Saints. Why are they here, Dobbs?
Why are they here, Hunter? They just allowed. Let me just fact check myself because I'm pretty sure. But here, before I get into that stat, because we just allowed a Chiefs team who is dismantled on offense, who has been struggling on offense, to put up 460 total yards against us. They very well should have, if you want to include the touchdown that turned to a pick that was an incredible play by Saunders. But again, if we include that and the field goal, this should have literally been 40-13. It felt like 40-13. The Saints aren't going anywhere fast. And go watch the other rant video that we just posted. That will cover all the bases, because watch that before this. You'll understand everything about the Saints.
They just kind of look discombobulated. It didn't look smooth for them, and the future is kind of just, I don't know, after a hot start.
Ew, and from a Saints fan, just ew.
Moving to the C category, we have the New York Jets. Now I'm going to read something that Woody Johnson, the owner, just said. This is the most talented team ever assembled. One of the most talented teams ever assembled by the New York Jets. The change I made, I believe, will bring new energy and positivity that will lead to some more wins. Well, hopefully we'll never see the Jets in the C category again, because losing that game in London the way they did, embarrassing.
Embarrassing. And again, the score is closer than I feel like the reality, because the reality is that Sam Darnold played his worst game of the year and a really bad game overall. And yet Aaron Rodgers still turned the ball over 3 times, and you have no run game, and you still couldn't find a way to win. Tough.
Next team, we have Buffalo. I mean, they're in the C category because they were able to keep it so close. But if it wasn't close, this was definitely like a D game from Buffalo. Josh Allen just played really bad. The Houston Texans defense had him in a blender. So because it was a close game, it is a C, but could have very been easily a D if the score was not within 3 points, 3 or 4 points.
No, and Hunter, I just want to say this because I feel like that we talked about this a lot last week, but we didn't talk about it enough. The Bills are the kings of, we're the best team in the league for like a 3 or 4 week stretch. And then not only did they look bad, but they're like, yo, are we sure that this team is contending like type bad? And look, back-to-back weeks, Josh Allen, 55% completion percentage, 180 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. And then this last week, 30% completion percentage, 131 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interception. I mean, again, not turning the ball over per se, but at a 0 production rate, it doesn't really change much. You could basically say he did turn the ball over at the end, even though it was the play calling where they literally gave the Texans the game at the end. That was the worst game management stretch in the history of game management.
Yeah, it was really
both
bad.
The Texans and the Bills. Bad. That's a whole other side tangent.
If they just would have ran the ball and made the Texans use their timeouts, they would have had a much better chance of winning than punting, them getting that huge return, and then having, it was so bad, Dobbs. It was so bad.
Yeah, I'm starting to see what Bills fans mean about Sean McDermott. I think it's starting to hit me, Hunter. It's starting to hit me.
B- C+ category. First team we have is the San Francisco 49ers, who honestly would have been lower for me personally if their kicker was not injured. Now, you can make the argument that's why they lost the game. You also should not lose this game to the Arizona Cardinals, who is a division rival. You just lost to the Los Angeles Rams, where you folded in the fourth quarter, and now you have a short week. Your kicker might be still injured, and you're playing the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. You cannot go 0-3 versus your division to start the year. They are very bad in the red zone without Christian McCaffrey, and Brock Purdy has been fine, but they just don't feel like the same team.
He's been fine, but it doesn't feel the same as last year. Again, we kind of already touched on this earlier. A couple weeks ago, Niners fans were in their feelings about it. But I think we like to stay ahead of the game over here. Again, not that the Niners can't still get it figured out, because they can. And if they had their kicker, if they had Moody, you very likely are seeing them sit at 3-2. But again, irregardless, another 10 or plus, right? I'm not saying this, but like 10 or more lead blown by Shanahan in the second half. There's a point where we have to start really talking about that more and more. And it probably will come sooner than later here, Hunter, if this keeps going the way it does.
Los Angeles Rams, they lose by 5 to the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this game never really felt like it was the Rams game. And unfortunately for them, they're really injury-ridden. And they kept it close to the point where, like, Stafford could have came in and won the game, but they just didn't. And I don't know. I think highly of what the Packers are. So to keep it close, being that injured is respectable. But unfortunately, you didn't get the win, and you didn't really ever feel control, like they were in control of that game.
No, but like everything you said, credit to the Rams, because keeping it close against them like the Packers is not an easy task, and it just speaks to the pedigree the Rams have. But to your point about, and we were on this beat going into the season, the Rams roster is just not what it has been when they've been an elite team, and that it was going to be signs and means for regression.
Seattle Seahawks. I mean, I know you lost basically on a blocked field goal, but again, kind of similar to the last game, the Giants felt like the better team. Like, now I will say that due to the fact that I saw this video where it's like teams that play the Lions typically do not perform well the next week because the Lions play so physically. So it is kind of crazy when you look at that and the record against the spread, but this is just a game you can't lose in Seattle, especially with San Francisco losing. If they would have had a good lead on the division. You go in, if you can beat San Francisco, you have a very comfortable lead in the division. It would have been a big game to win, but they just didn't feel in control of this game.
Yeah, no, but I think, and I want to add this too, because this thing is, for our Geno truther in the comments a week or two ago, look, this is not, I want to be clear, this is not on Geno at all. Geno still played a good game. But what I'm concerned about here is when we look at the stat sheet, you see Geno Smith, your leading rusher, on 4 carries for 72 yards. And then I see Kenneth Walker with 5 touches and Zach Charbonnet with 2 touches. What are we doing? I don't think we're going to win. We're going to win 1 out of 10 football games playing with that discrepancy from passes to runs. It's just not winning football. That's what I'm concerned about when I see a game like this.
Pittsburgh is in the B- C+ category. Their defense played lights out, kind of, until the end, but you forced 3 turnovers and block a field goal. Should win the game. So this grade comes from the offense being quite generic, honestly, against one of the worst defenses in the league.
I'm just going to leave it at this and we'll move forward. Was my take a couple weeks ago about how we could see Russ coming soon? Was it true? I don't know. I guess, it's up to Mike Tomlin to be determined.
I don't know. The general response to that video was, why are we having this conversation? Justin is winning.
And yeah, here we are 2 weeks later. Here we are.
Unfortunately, Dallas is in the same tier. Yeah, I mean, not really an impressive game by them either. Like, this game was not impressive for either team. Yeah, no, it's just they just happened to win the game. Kind of similar to the Giants game. So offense isn't really clicking like crazy. Defense isn't playing that well. I don't know what to say other than just kind of disappointing season for the Cowboys so far.
Yeah, the best of disappointing seasons, but Cowboys fans would agree. There's a lot more to be desired, but I feel like at least you're saying to yourself, okay, we did it without our 2 best pass rushers, right? When we get Micah and DeMarcus back, there should be a spark. I feel you. And they say, you are what your record is. You're 3-2. It's not like it's cause to panic. It's just the Cowboys we know can be a lot better than they are.
We have Tampa Bay in the B category. honestly, they would have been higher. I think their offense played very, very good, but their defense just was not able to slow down the Atlanta Falcons offense. And, we saw that from the other team as well, but Baker Mayfield is just playing out of his mind. He's going dumbass. Like, I really love the way he's playing, but the Bucs defense has been kind of a letdown this year, and especially more of a letdown because Todd Bowles is that defensive head coach that we know him to be. So I really want to see him to get this defense worked out because they could be a much better team if their side of the ball was pulling weight.
No, absolutely. They could be Super Bowl contenders if the other side of the ball is pulling weight. And yeah, you just allowed Kirk Cousins to go over 500 yards on you. You have Kirk out here competing for most passing yards in NFL history at a random Thursday night. Not the best sign if you're the Bucs. We'll just leave it at that. But at least offense does its thing, like you're saying.
Minnesota Vikings in the B category. Yes, they won. Yes, they beat the Jets. Yes, the Jets offense is putrid. So you only get a B, especially because it was a close game and you have almost folded 2 weeks in a row now. Darnold came down to earth a little bit. Overall, you're still 5-0. You still get a good grade. B is a good grade, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, almost folded, might I add, after going up multiple possessions. That we don't want to be seeing that week in, week out, Vikings fans.
Cincinnati, kind of the same argument here as the Bucs. Good game on offense. Joe Burrow is playing out of his fucking mind. He's going dumbass times 2. But that defense is still really bad. Evan McPherson misses the kick after Lamar Jackson fumbles the ball.
But I can't blame Evan. Again, that was on the snapper though. I will never. Yeah,
it was a bad snap.
That snapper missed the kick. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's tough.
So unfortunately, you live in the B category, but that's pretty good when you lose still.
No, if anything, the Bengals fans are reliving the Saints fans' days from 2011 through or not even 2011. We're like 2013 to 2016 here. This is how we felt over here. Yeah, you can have the best offense in the league, but it doesn't matter when the defense does jack.
Green Bay gets the win against the Rams. Really shouldn't have been as close as it was. Jordan Love still doesn't necessarily look healthy. Went full Will Levis, throwing that pick 6 in the end zone. Never go full Will Levis. I don't know. They won the game. They played all right, but it shouldn't. I don't know if you've looked at kind of the D-line regression between like Kenny Clark and oh my God, Rashawn Gary, but it just has not been anything that is very encouraging at all from them.
No, I think Packers fans would agree. Again, kind of like the Cowboys. Like, you're 3-2. But it's not a very encouraging 3-2. And again, we're not going to take this team seriously as a Super Bowl contender until that defense takes major steps forward.
Yep. All right. Now we have the New York Giants. They come out and beat the Seahawks on a blocked field goal.
Round of applause.
Props to Brian Daboll. He had a great coaching game this game and got the win. Now, am I super optimistic for the Giants the rest of the year? No. But you played a team that was considered to be pretty good at the start of the year. So props to the Giants.
No, I agree with everything you said. But you know what? If you're a Giants fan, I feel like here's at least what you're optimistic about at this point. Working with this roster, I will say you're optimistic that, you know what? Daboll, like we had this debate, we had this discussion a couple weeks ago. I don't know how I feel about everyone else in the building, but Brian Daboll, I think Brian Daboll's the answer head coach. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
KC. Now, they beat the Saints yesterday, but their defense is good, but it just still doesn't feel like they're clicking on all cylinders. Like, that's kind of I don't want to say issue with the Chiefs because there's been a lot of talk about Mahomes isn't playing well, and he technically does lead the league in interceptions tied with, Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. Obviously, they played less games, but I'm not worried about the Chiefs. As long as they make the playoffs, that's all that matters. But I still don't think it was a great game. They don't deserve an A.
Yeah, no, and I think, if anything, that's where we should be laughing. It's almost like it's like a cruel, sick joke. Like, the Chiefs aren't playing the best football they could be playing, and they're 5-0. Lucky the rest of the league. But yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Moving into the A category, we have the Atlanta Falcons. Okay. Kirk went absolutely crazy, dumbass, 500 yards through the air. Again, the defense kind of holds them back from being an A+, but overall, the Atlanta Falcons kind of had a great Great game.
Thursday.
Great game. What am I thinking? It was just like, it was so tight, and I feel like the Falcons always push it to the last minute.
Well, and you know what? Here's what I'm going to say about the Falcons about the past 2 weeks. You're saying that yourself, you're a Falcons fan. Hey, look, when the tides are turned against us and we got to step up and we got to be the ones to win the game, we can be the ones to win the game. That's a good feeling as a fan base. That's the Falcons right now.
Chicago Bears, they came out and lit up the Carolina Panthers, which they should have. And this is my thing is, you can make the argument, oh, well, it's Carolina Panthers. Who cares? They did what they were supposed to do, and that's literally all you can ask a team. That's all you can only play who's on your schedule. So I think they deserve an A for the way their defense and offense played in this game.
Absolutely. Hashtag Caleb was always the answer. The victory laps are coming soon enough. But yeah, Bears fans, you guys got a good one.
Baltimore Ravens go into the A category. Lamar Jackson played out of his mind. They were able to get it done at the end of the game. Again, allowing like 38 points is kind of crazy. So can't give them the A+, but to get it done in crunch time, in overtime, and get the win, very important. And just a really good, amazing offensive game from the Ravens.
I will say, as much as I agree, yes, this was an A week. The bottom line is, though, if you're the Ravens and you're the fans, you're starting to get concerned about the defense, right? Because, again, you very well could have been 2-3, and we'd be saying how this defense is a major issue, and they still are a major issue, just happen to go the other way because of the holder. So take that how you will. The defense needs to be addressed.
We have the Indianapolis Colts in the A category. Now, they lost to the Jaguars, but with the way that the offense looked, it's hard because the defense didn't play well, and you can make the argument for kind of similar to the Bengals. But I just think to be able to put in Joe Flacco and have him perform like that, like, really deserves an A effort. And I think they played a great game. It was up until the end, but I don't know how. It's really hard to go back to Anthony Richardson.
Well, not only that, but it's also like the reality situation at this point is we kind of knew this. This was the whole narrative coming into the year. We didn't expect anything from the Colts defense. I think it's worse than we expected, but like the personnel, especially in the entire secondary, it's just like the Colts aren't going to be playing winning football until the entire secondary is addressed. That's kind of the bottom line, but they're doing what they can to keep it afloat on offense. You have to give credit where it's due.
Jacksonville Jaguars, we also have in A. They get that win. And as a Bears fan, I'm happy they got it out of their system before we play them in London. But Jacksonville, I mean, like, they got it done. Trevor Lawrence played out of his mind. There was a lot of, scrutiny on this Jaguars team. I don't think they're out of the woods yet, but to go against one of your division rivals and get the win, very, very important. They get an A from us.
No, and Tank Bigsby gets an A. Tank Bigsby said, Travis, that RB1 job, let me take that from you, my friend. And I don't think he's giving it back.
We have the Houston Texans as an A. What they did to Josh Allen on defense was crazy. CJ Stroud also played decently well. So they get an A from me. It was a very complete game from the Houston Texans.
Yeah, A- the final 2 minutes. Final 2 minutes, they might have an F- from the decision-making going on there. But call it for what it is, right? You still won the game against the Bills. And like you said, it ended up not biting you in the back. So it is what it is. It still was a great game. And Texans, one of the best teams in the AFC, bottom line.
Arizona Cardinals get an A. Did Kyler Murray play his best game? No. He snapped at the beginning with the 50-yard run. But you beat a division rival who is vastly better than you. Vastly better from a roster standpoint. So that will always get an A in my book. I believe they were in San Francisco as well. So they beat the Niners at home. And I don't know. I just think, I don't know how you can't give them an A.
No, absolutely. Again, Jake Moody was injured. We're aware, but it doesn't matter because the Cardinals were not supposed to win this game. They shouldn't have won this game. And they found a way to pull it out. Fire in their gut.
Fire in their gut. I think we missed a couple teams here, and that's on me, but we'll discuss that after. So going into the A+ category, we have the Denver Broncos. To go in there and beat a team like that with your offense, with your defense showing off, I think the Denver team is really starting to come together, and if they're able to put together just a competent offense like they did this week, they could be pretty scary going through the rest of the year.
No, absolutely. I think if anything, look, Sean Payton, man, y'all had a lot of stuff to say about Sean Payton. I told you guys what was coming. This is what happens when you hire a good head coach.
Next, we have the Washington Commanders, again, living in the A+ category, and I was wrong. We didn't miss teams that are just on bye.
No, I was going to say, I was like, don't worry, we didn't miss anybody.
The Washington Commanders, I mean, the offense has been electric. The defense being able to shut down the Browns offense, not that the Browns offense is the best thing in the world, but I did think the defense would be able to contain the Commanders a little bit more than they did.
No, and Hunter, I'm willing to say it, and it might have to be a video I make sometime soon here, but like, I don't know. Some part of me, the Commanders are starting to feel like they are contending out of the NFC, which sounds crazy, but like the landscape of the NFC right now, I don't know. The Commanders are really playing their ass off, and just hats off to the Commanders. Right now, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to jump the gun too much, but they feel like they're really cooking something over there.
I don't know if I'm buying the hype, but thank you guys so much for watching. This has been our Week 5 grades for every NFL team. If you don't know ball, want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Let us know who we graded too highly and who is graded too low. Thank you guys so much for watching.